you have coming up here. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you're not looking past anybody. The games count. There, you got to focus on the opponents too. But what do you hope on your side to accomplish these next 10 days?
Well, first of all, looking backwards a little bit, we went through a heck of a run, and to be able to find a way to win that last game we were in with all the things that we were up against and all the the way when I look back on the film, we were sluggish. And credit to North Texas, they make you look that way. But I've seen us at practice, and I've seen us, on film in that game, and I'm like, wow, we've had a lot of practices where we're going way harder. I think we were a little, I think we all woke up Wednesday and we're like, whew, got through a long, long stretch of, you'd finish one game and you'd go to bed that night, and the next huge game was coming, and that takes its toll, especially this early in the season when you're maybe not, you look at a lot of these teams, they'll play a good team, then they'll play a couple ones that they're, can really focus on themselves. And then I think that we're one of the only teams in the country that's done it game after game after game after game for 7 straight. But then, when you look at like North Texas, there's a reason that team, they had the second most road wins in the last 3 years than any other team in the whole country, and you see why, the way they defend, the way they rebound. And so what a good test for us to pass. Now, we didn't pass it with straight A's, but you got the most important thing done. You got the job done and won the game in a game that could have went the other way because of the way North Texas played and how tough they were, and we had to find a way to win it. And that's a great quality to have in a team. And when we look at the film and we look at where we are now, I just feel like there's so much room for improvement, which is exciting. Because, I'm watching other teams and I'm like, man, if I was coaching that team, I'm not sure how much you could get them better. Some teams that are winning a lot of games right now, and they know their teams better than I do. But when I look at us, I'm like, man, I see a ton of ways that we can get better. And, for the guys, sometimes they feel like they're a long ways off, but they're not as far off as they think. And just by correcting a couple things, we can make a 10 to 20% jump. Every turnover equals at least a point, sometimes even more, because sometimes those turnovers lead to a fast break. But, you average somewhere close to a point of possession, and you take 10 of those off, and now you're 10 points better just by doing that. And some of them are just, just learning how not to be careless with the ball and how to value it and how to make, the art of the simple play. And, I asked my guys who the best quarterbacks in the history of the NFL were. Tom Brady's name comes up, but those guys have the ability to make the simple play, repeated. And, then the ones you see on TV are the tough plays that they're good enough to make. And so people think that that's what they made their living on. Like Drew Brees, he threw 10,000 5-yard passes, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So just maybe teaching these guys the value of that, the repeatable skills of, okay, instead of those really, really tough plays that you're trying to make, if we make, easy play, we got great shots and we take care of the ball better. So it doesn't mean you're less aggressive. You're still aggressive and you're still on the attack, but just understanding how to minimize those a little bit. And we usually get a lot better at that, and that's something we have to be able to do to compete in this league.
What's been the bigger, concern or surprise or more alarming, the rebounding issues or the turnovers?
I think it's 1A and 1B, but the turnovers hasn't been as consistent, The rebounding is, we've played really good rebounding teams when you look at all of them. So that's a factor. But good teams expose your weaknesses and expose, not that I don't believe it's going to be a weakness for us, but expose areas that, like, okay, we got to make a big jump here. And, so that helps you. if you can, if you can get better at it. And I think the amount of film we've watched with these guys, the amount of emphasis it's going to get, and the figuring out which guys will do it, because it's important to me. And I always tell them the best way I can make us a better rebounding team is play some guys that'll go rebound. So, it's a good way for guys to get on the court if they'll go get rebounds. And, and each team's so different because, when you look at our teams in the past, we've had the nice mix of, Tyson does his job every time with blocking out and doing that, but he's not a go-get-it guy. So Tyson matched with Naj is kind of a perfect match. And we would always do it that way. Like we put Tyson on there, one of their better rebounds, kind of take him out. It was the same with Mladen. He would do his job every time and take their big out of the play, and then somebody else can come get it. And that's Shaver was great at it. One of the best rebounding guards. He would come get it. Roddy's got that ability to do that. He's got to come get more. Jace got to come get more. But it's, we got to find some guys that are going to come get it instead of, hey, we're all blocking out, but nobody's going to get in the ball as much. So there's, but it's also, Omar's been in just so much foul trouble last game. He's one of our best go-get-it guys. So, those are all factored in too. And Cam can be a better rebounder, and, we got a lot of guys that can go get more.
We asked the players kind of what's the bigger issue, rebounding or turnovers? And RJ said it was actually the communication. He said that's something that you guys want to try to get better at. What do you think needs to happen there for that communication to be there?
Talk more. It's as simple as that, And you got some new guys that haven't been out there enough, so their confidence in their talk isn't good enough. So their default is to, well, I don't know if I should say anything because I'm not sure I'm right. They just have to take charge of situations, and that's what we have to teach them to be able to do. Is there is no wrong answer if you're taking charge of those defensive situations. And again, I think our bigs can really, but you got two bigs, and they're waiting for somebody to tell them what to do, like one of the veterans, but they're really the ones that have to be in charge of that situation. So to get them to know how valuable that is, and then more confidence to do it, and that that comes with experience.
Is that something, like you said, just build throughout this?
Yeah, and you go to these guys transfer in, and it's a whole different language and and you got to be able to communicate it in the exact right second. If it's too late, it doesn't help you. You got to be able to communicate it early, loud, and often. That's what we tell our guys. And so we're just a little late, and when you're a little late, it just doesn't it hurt you, and that's what we've seen. So you're this far off in a lot of those things that they're but like I said all along, I got high character guys that want to work, want to get better. They like to be coached, and but they just some of the young guys you gotta you gotta coach them, you gotta teach them, and you gotta keep their confidence up. But they also got to know, like, no, this is not, we can't survive doing it that way. You got to change your behavior. You can't do the same thing and expect different results.
The last couple of games, Omar's been a little bit of foul trouble. Did he have any stretches like that when he played at St. John's? And how did he get out of it?
No, he was playing a lot different. And I'm just guessing here, but it just seems like the Big East is what is a foul in the Big East is different than what is a foul out west. Maybe, that's just a guess, because when I watch those games, it's like, wow, but it's all about technique. If he can just tighten down his technique just a little bit, you saw him come in at the end of that game, and he had impeccable technique. He was flying around, and that's the Omar that we need to have all the time and have him out there a lot.
I know it's early, and like one win can change things by 20 spots. Or what do you make with where you're at in the computer?
Yeah, it's perplexing a little bit, because when you compare, like I'll do some blind comparisons, like, wait a minute, I know who they've played, and they have somewhat similar record to us, but their net is way better compared to who we've played. I just think maybe that number is going to sort as we go. It has to. I think there's still predictive analytics in it. And the farther you get into the season, those leave, and it's the actual data. So I think that's got to make a difference. You know, but there are some perplexing ones, you know, where, you know, I think I saw somebody talking about Miami beat a 320 team or something, but they beat them by 40, so they move up 20 spots. That seems flawed. You know, that seems like a flawed system, because they want us to play better teams, and you want to play, you know, high-level teams. Well, we've certainly done that, and, you know, but they want you to avoid as many of those games as you can, but then they reward you move up 20 spots by playing somebody like that, by beating them badly, which is not good.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, like, tomorrow's game doesn't factor into, like,
Right.
Tuesday, if Ken Palm says they predicted you win by 21, you don't win by at least 21, you go down.
Yeah, that's not good, because that changes the way, you know, sometimes those games are good for getting younger guys experience. Sometimes those, you know, it leads to, you know, the old running up the score or whatever we used to say. You know, that I don't like that. That's not competition. That's not, you know, that's just.
Do you think you're not getting enough credit, though, for some of the teams you've played at this point, maybe?
Yeah, it seems like that. It does, because I mean, my eyes have told me enough, and you know, plus we've watched them. You know, the teams that we played, we watched what Clemson's done. You know, I mean, VCU ended up losing that game, but a lay-in goes in, and their net goes up by 30. I mean, one lay-in. So does that mean we're way better if they make that lay? You know, that they are who they are, and they're a really talented team, and they're hard to beat. You know, now I'd like them to go win those, but you know, Butler has great win against Texas Tech, and you know, on and on and on. We played really good teams, and yeah, would you like to had a few better moments here or there? Maybe you get one more win. Yeah, sure, but that's part of the early process of growing up. It's hard to beat good teams, and you know, we stepped up and did that last two games. I know that. Those are really good teams. And, you know, I said this about St. Mary's right away, too. I predicted they'd win 9 out of the last 10, you know, 9 out of their next 10. I'm going to stand by that. You watch. They won one, and they're, you know, on to the next one, and they got a tough one this weekend, but they're going to win a lot of games.
Anything else?
We got, I guess we'll talk about the toy drive later, right, after the
You want to talk about it now? I think it's because we'll start doing it on Tuesdays.
The 12th and the 17th, correct? Yeah. No, we're doing it. We did a really cool thing last year. I have a buddy of mine who we grew up together, and he was a founder of a really famous toy company. And, you know, we're like, I got this buddy who has all these toys and is a toy maker, and he likes to help people. And we've got this, and you know, community that loves to help people. And we started a toy drive last year, and people brought toys to 2 games, and we had a lot of them, and it was really, really neat to be able to have our guys, you know, take them to these places that we got to take them, and the great causes, and you know, it's a great time to be able to give back and to focus on that with our guys. And you know, it was really neat for me to bring in Mike Becker, the toy maker from Funco, and so you know, we're doing it again this year on the 12th and the 17th. So you bring toys, and we make sure they're going to the great causes and in this community, and it made a difference. I got to see it firsthand. That was really cool, and I think there's some video that comes out with it. But it's one of the neatest things that we've got to do. And you know, is it on a giant scale? No, but I mean, we got a lot. We got a lot of toys, and it was, boy, it made a difference for a lot of people. So it was really neat.
Which organization is it? Do you guys?
Well, we did Ronald McDonald House, and then we did with a community group that
That's
helps.
multiple organizations.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're always looking to,
Ticket discount?
yeah, and they do. There's, yeah,
$1 balcony seats for both games.
yeah.
And then we also have a release going out here in the next couple hours of all of our holiday promotions. So that'll go out here soon.
Yeah. Mike Becker and I have some great history. We grew up together, and like I said, he's the founder of this billion-dollar company. And my favorite story about him and I, we we were always trying to do some odd jobs and summer jobs, and we were working for Manpower, I think, and they assigned us to Busy Bee Car Wash, right? And so he and I were the hand towel dryer guys that, but Mike's a little bit like me. We like to have a little fun, and we're drying towels, and pretty soon one of us snaps the other with a towel, and then it just escalates, and we're throwing towels at each other, wet towels, snapping each other, and manager calls us over and looks at us and's like shaking his head and's like, "I'm sorry, fellas, I just don't think you two have what it takes to be Busy Bee Car Wash guys." And we looked at each other like, probably not. Walked out, tail between our legs, and Mike went on to found $1 billion company, so, but he didn't have what it takes to be a Busy Bee Car Wash employee, so don't get discouraged if you don't have, if you can't do a job like that. But the manager was probably right. We didn't have what it takes. We were probably causing more damage to the cars than we were helping them.